Up north of Gardendale or down south past Vestavia, turn up your sound and listen well, cause we got something to say to ya. Kurre and Klapow, they in the know, their topics cover A to Z. So whether you drive fast or slow, just sit on back and feel the beat. Oh no! It's Kurre and Klapow!
Good morning, it's November 30th. It is the last day of stinking November. I cannot believe tomorrow is going to be December 1st. Tony Kurre Dr. Josh will be walking his late ass in here in just a minute. Usually comes traipsing in. He's one of those kind of guys that likes to come and make an entrance, and I certainly understand that as a doctor. You shouldn't allowed to do that. I got a lot to get into today. I was listening to my friend over at Magic 96. It's almost impossible not to listen to that radio station right now because there's Christmas music, and if you got kids in the car, you got that radio station on. He was talking about the big fake or real debate. That's one of those slow news days things, like what are we going to talk about today? And I know he works by himself, so he's got to come up with some material, and he's good at what he does. And so he was talking about real or fake Christmas trees. We're going to go real or fake a lot of different things. Yes, we're going to go there. Talk about real or fake those. We're going to talk about that. Also, a cataclysmic, a seismic, a tectonic plate movement in college football yesterday as my boy Brian Kelly from Notre Dame, and I say my boy because he coached up at Cincinnati. Not a big Cincinnati fan because I went to Xavier, but Xavier doesn't have a football team, so I root for the Bearcats. I got a chance to meet him, have dinner with him. He's a good Catholic guy, and he's been at Notre Dame for a dozen years. He just ran out, man. He just cut out, didn't he? Just split in the middle of the night, one of those kind of things. And, of course, everyone's like, oh, these poor college kids. These poor college kids, they came here to play for Coach Kelly. They came to play at Notre Dame, and in the middle of the night, he ups and splits. And I would tell you right now that these kids need to have their cages shaken a little bit and say, hey, listen, this is real life. And if kids don't realize that by this point, now listen, if you're going to take a job somewhere and someone says, listen, love to have you on board, and you really like this boss, and you're really looking forward to working there, and all of a sudden a week later he splits, I get that, but that is the real world. It's the world we live in. Things change. You do it. You may take a job. I know, hell, people are doing it right now. They're working for 3 or 4 weeks at a job, and they're like, I'm really into this place. I love working here. And next thing you know, they've split. They're done. They're like, yeah, I'm making more money across the street. Or for whatever reason, they decide to leave. It just happens. That's the real life we live in. And listen, if we're going to pay college football players, then I get it. This is an adult type of thing. It's unfortunate. No fan bases don't like it. And I think you also kind of go through, hey, listen, Coach Kelly was having a tough time, was it 5-6 years ago? Guess what? We've got some issues here, and we stood behind you, and we helped you get through this tough time, and that's what college football is all about. So we'll talk about that coming up in just a few minutes. Oh, look. Hi. Good morning, Dr. Josh Klapow. That's why you should perhaps get up a little earlier. I didn't miss the school bus this morning. You know why? Because I set my alarm 5 minutes earlier so I can make sure I was on time. That's what we do. So we'll get into that. So we're going real or fake. We were talking about your friend Rob Conrad a few minutes ago. His whole morning show is based on real or fake Christmas trees today. So we're going to go real or fake, but we're going to talk about real or fake other things. Yeah. Yeah, we'll talk about all kinds of real or fake things. So we got that going on right here on the Kurre and Klapow show. We got some birthdays we'll get into today, too. And we also mentioned, of course, this is the last day of November, November 30th. I can't flip and believe it. Tomorrow, December 1st. So we're getting ready. And so if you're one of those people like myself who started decorating like three months ago, now you kind of feel like, see, there you go. I started decorating 3 months ago. Now look, I'm ahead of the game. It's December 1st. I'm ready to go. And I think that's a good thing.
That is.
Yeah. So I kind of feel like I'm
That's the great thing about a fake Christmas tree.
I know, right?
Bring down.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you can also get a real one and save the world. See, his whole thing about real or fake was like, is it better for our world to have a real or fake Christmas tree?
Well, it depends what you do with the Christmas tree.
It seems counterintuitive to sit there and say, for every charge you make, we'll plant a tree because we're trying to save the ozone, right? And so we're trying to plant as many trees, and all these trees are burning down and all these wildfires all over the place. So we need to plant more trees, yet we have this holiday where we're actually cutting trees down just for sake of our nostalgia and our tradition. I get that. There's Christmas tree farms, and I mean, obviously, there's the machine here that there's a lot of people that make a living based off selling Christmas trees. I was at Old Baker Farm, and they do that. By the way, it takes about 5 to 7 years to grow a Christmas tree. Now, my son always likes a smaller tree. We usually put one in the studio, but it's up in the office this year. And they're like, don't touch the small trees. And I'm like, why? And it's like, because they need to grow. That's how we make our money, because they can sell an 8-foot tree for $70, right?
Yeah.
And so I cut one down anyway. And he's like,
So what's Rob's take?
Well, the deal is it's about even.
I was just you got my mind. You might right because.
So you're buying something that is plastic,
right? That's right.
And the majority of them come from China, which means there is fossil fuels being used to ship them over here, container things, and they're fake. And then once they're fake, and you throw them away, and I think the average Christmas tree lasts 17 years or something like that. People don't get rid of Christmas trees.
No, mine's got a 20-year warranty on it.
Yeah, you don't get rid of Christmas trees. It's about what do you do with them when you do. Because there's nothing you can nothing you can do.
Well, you can't recycle
them. But you can burn a real Christmas tree.
Yes, you can.
So that was the whole debate. So he basically said, based on science, I don't know where he got his information.
He's pretty good about getting his details on it. I'm just saying, I know that he,
Well, he's spending the entire morning talking about
it. Because,
he did some research on it now. But he said after about 5 years, it breaks even. You talk about the fossil fuels, and then what do you do with your fake tree, or what do you do with your real tree? My real tree usually goes in my backyard.
Yeah, that's what mine does.
I throw it back there, and then once it dies, then I burn it. But I know a lot of people like to throw them in lakes. They're great for fisheries.
Yeah.
And fish love them. So there's all kinds of different things you could do with fake trees, too. I always like Christmas trees are like your dad's underwear. If your dad wore grippies, you're going to wear grippies. If your dad's circumcised, you're circumcised.
If your dad was Jewish, what do you do?
If your dad's Jewish, you're Jewish.
I know. What's that going to do?
So if you had a fake Christmas tree growing up, chances are you're going to have a fake Christmas tree. That's just the way it is.
So that became that was a whole thing in my household.
Yeah, it's part of your tradition.
No, not my growing up, we had a real Christmas tree because of my stepdad, and we didn't have a giant Christmas tree because that's what Jews do. On Christmas, we go to all of our Gentile friends and look at their Christmas trees.
Sure.
But we grew up in a mixed family, so we had a Christmas tree during Christmas. So I love the smell of the Christmas tree and all that kind of stuff. So we always had a Christmas tree at our house growing up. I mean, when the kids were young, at our house. The problem was Julie's allergic to the pine needles. Max is allergic to the pine needles.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like people are allergic to cat. Like if he touches them, I mean, it's not terrible. So we always had it growing up, but I loved it. And Julie always was. Actually, we call her Jules. Her real name is Julie. I've now revealed who she is.
So I call her Jules.
Oh yeah,
and I'm not even married to her.
So she always wanted to go fake. First, she wanted to go nun. Then she wanted to go fake.
Yeah.
And I was all, and you know me, like I get into these things. I spent 3 weeks examining every sort of flocked, no flock, what flock means, all that kind of stuff. And so we finally decided to go the fake tree. And I didn't want to, I wanted to get a nice one because it's going to last for 17 years. But like some of them are like $1,500, $2,000. I mean, you can spend a hell of a lot of money. I mean, I'm sorry. I was surprised. I was like, okay, if you're. So we went kind of middle of the road. We got it. I started setting up with my daughter. And we were done. Mind you, like you said, this is 17, 20 years. We were like, and then I realized I can't, like, now I'm stuck with this thing. Like, I can't go out and get a different one. And although it's great because it folds itself up and you put it back in the attic, it's going to come back out again. And if I don't like it.
So you didn't like it?
It was like, okay. You know when you buy something.
Nothing looks like a real tree.
I know.
Yeah. No, even the $2,000 trees. And the thing is the thing that we like about Christmas, because I'm not always looking for the perfect Christmas tree.
No.
Sometimes I want to go. There was one that the top was bigger than the bottom. I don't even know how it was standing up. And I was like, let's get that one. And my son was like, it looked like a Dr. Seuss tree. He's like, no. And I was like, someone needs to take this this is like a foster child. He's 14 or 15 years. No one wants this child. Let's take this child and make it our own. Let's do it, right?
Yeah.
Let's take this thing, not to analogize fostering a child to a Christmas tree.
I know what your son said. He's like, Dad, it's like the minivan.
Yeah, and so yeah, exactly. So we end up, because every time you get a tree, they have their own character.
Yes.
They have their own look. This year we got one that wasn't so wide, but it was really, really tall.
Yes.
I'll post a picture of it if you like. It's
Sure.
11 feet tall. It's probably the best tree we ever got. And so, but there is something about seeing that favorite tree and seeing that big, that beautiful thing. And we got out there kind of early to see it.
No, so
the other thing is they're a pain in the ass because unless you keep them watered, and we're watering it like a gallon a day, and then about 2 weeks into it, you forget.
This was Jules' complaint.
Yeah,
She's like, we have. We find pine needles 3 years later.
Oh yeah,
like just one or two.
Yeah, well, it's easy to see in the white carpet.
That's why we don't.
And after about 3 years, man, they're like real needles. I mean, you'll step on one, it'll stab you. I hear you. See, we had fake our entire lives. It was kind of a game though because there was only there was the stick, the trunk, and there was only 4 branches that came out.
Right.
And the whole idea is, a Charlie Brown tree. The whole idea was you had to stick enough crap on it so you couldn't see just the stick in the middle. I mean, that's the kind of Christmas trees we had. It was a Sears Christmas tree. You had a Christmas tree from Sears. That was it. There was only 3 or 4 different Christmas trees you can get. Now you can get all kinds of crap. And like you said,
and
I think it was $69. I think my dad spent $69, which was a lot of money for that time.
Was it like?
And you put the oranges on the front. It was a puzzle. We like putting the tree together because it was kind of fun, and you could bend the branches.
That's how it is now.
Which was
Now it is. Yeah, it's now. I put it together wrong.
Yeah.
We did a time lapse somewhere. I think my daughter put on TikTok. We've got a time lapse of how, I think she titled it, "What happens when a Jewish man tries to put together an artificial Christmas tree?"
Yeah, I remember seeing that last year.
Yeah, I was like, because you'd think it would be. I mean, my God, there's not that many. There's the base, there's the trunk, and then you think you just stick.
Well, now they got the ones you just lay down, you push a button and it folds up and goes up.
I wanted one of those.
Oh gosh.
I wanted that. I also wanted, like, when the kids were young, I was the one who wanted the 100-foot inflatable in front of the house.
Yeah.
You know how that went over.
Yeah, no, that didn't happen. My sister, for some reason, she loves Christmas. She has 8 Christmas trees. And so they're all fake. So she's not going to go out and buy 8 Christmas trees every year.
You know who does that too? Our friend Richard Dixon. He's got one in every corner of the house.
Yeah. Two's enough.
That's a lot.
They're like dogs.
They're like cats.
Yeah.
No, they're like cats. So here's the thing about cats, and it's like Christmas trees. Depending on whether you live with somebody or not, if you're single and you have more than 4 cats, then you're a strange cat person.
Yes.
Now, if you're married,
yes,
or with somebody in the house, then you can have 4 and you're okay. It's okay. It's sort of the same with Christmas trees. Like, once you get past 3, what's so funny? I'm the Jew. Once you get past 3, depending on the size of your house and the number of people in that house, you're walking a fine line.
I agree with you.
Now, the little ones don't count.
Yeah.
The little tabletop-y, that doesn't count.
We got the one upstairs about this tall.
Yeah, we had one of those for the kids.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, she's. I mean, you cannot turn around. Oh, wait. I mean, every room you're walking into, but they've got a pretty nice size house. She's got one at the top of the stairwell, and then she's got one in every room.
That's fine.
And they spent a good 2 weeks.
Yeah, I definitely am. I'm of the philosophy that we should leave them up. I know there's the whole Advent. I know there's Advent, and that's important. But I think we should put them up about just after Halloween, and I think we should leave them through January.
The Christmas tree?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, because it
does smell good.
It smells great. You can get fake smell, by the way, for your
Yeah, it's called marijuana.
No, for your fake tree, there's like pine scent.
See, and you can cut the bottom branches off, which I had to do, and then I used this as garland. I tied it together, and because my ex took my garland, so I said, "Screw this, we'll make our own garland." So I put my own garland, made my own garland on top.
You.
Yeah, I know, right?
Did you construct a manger?
Do
you have one out front? Do you have a nativity scene?
No, but I've been wanting to do a real one.
Like with real people?
Real animals. I want to do one out in front of my yard. They got the live nativity thing coming up December 8th to the 10th at some church around here. They do the live nativity.
Christmas is a big deal. I think about it. No, it's just Hanukkah's like just so like it's so efficient.
I mean, could you imagine if we didn't celebrate it like we do? I mean, obviously the birth of baby Jesus is never going to go away, but there's a lot of people that hang their entire year on Christmas. Like
well,
this is it.
That
like,
gets into my whole world.
Like this is not like a commonality or it just comes along and it's Christmas. Let's celebrate. I mean, they
put everything.
Yeah. And then you get
all you need to do is throw one wrench into it.
Then you get the people at the street that still have their Halloween crap up. So they got skeletons and stuff, and now they're just putting Christmas. They're putting Santa Claus hats on all their skeletons. So now they have skeletons out in the yard.
They have dead. It works fine.
So that freaks kids out when you see something that looks like Santa Claus as a skeleton.
What do you call it? It's the Grim Reaper.
It's the Grim Santa Claus.
What is it?
It's the Grim Santa Claus Reaper.
Yeah, you're fine. You're fine. And by the way, there's a new study coming out. Did you see this?
What's that?
Lobsters, shrimp. I just heard that's coming over. Lobster, shrimp,
can't boil them.
Yeah, because they feel. It's not just they feel pain. They have central nervous systems that in the study they basically said it'd be the equivalent of throwing a dog or a human into boiling.
That's real pain. It's not fake pain.
I mean, listen, I like a good lobster. I love boiled shrimp.
Yeah.
And I would continue to eat them. And I've always I've cooked them once myself. That just it didn't go well. But there is something about throwing something alive into boiling water.
Into water, period. Well, considering
anything.
Yeah. Now you have to take a pillow and hold it over its face until it stops moving.
No, I think
so it dies.
I think you like stick something right down.
Yeah, you're still killing it.
Well, I know. I mean, but it's a more humane way because it killed instantly.
Yeah. What if we drowned cows before we ate them?
Well, that's what I'm saying. If we threw them in boiling water.
My dad did that with a squirrel once.
Why?
It was eating it.
I got another thing to. What is this? This is, you know what? This show's becoming like cable access.
It was it was biting through all of his Christmas light things, and so he trapped it.
And then boiled it?
No, he just put it into a trash can full of water and drowned it. I'm like, dude.
God.
And I'm like, and I was even surprised. I was like, well, it kept coming back, and so what am I going to do? Release a squirrel out in the wild? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, it would come back. So he drowned it. Yeah, I heard that because if you ever go to a crawfish boil, they put crawfish in a freezer, and then they boil them, and there's this god awful sound that comes out. You swear that you can hear little baby crawfish screaming. It makes this really high pitched. It's not the boiler. It's not the
right.
It's something. There's something going on in there where they're and it's like. Yeah, once I heard that, I was kind of like, that's kind of weird. I think it's great. I think PETA got themselves a good one there. But, I mean, we're still eating them and we're still killing them, right? So now we just chop their heads off or stab them in the back of the neck.
Yeah.
And we eat them.
It's more humane.
Yeah. It's really funny.
Like with a crossbow.
Yeah. My mom used to hang chickens from a wire out in our backyard.
Seriously? Dude, you grew up on the sticks.
Break their necks. That's how we did it. We grabbed a chicken, broke its neck.
Why don't you just go to the grocery store and get one?
Because it was a lot cheaper. We raised chickens. What
was the distance between where you lived like till civilization?
It was farmland, but I mean now it's like the city. Westchester's blowing up. Everyone was moving to Westchester because everyone was wanting to move out into the.
Were you like burbs? Were you rural?
It was
Burby.
In between.
Like what would be the equivalent here? Not Moody. Hayden?
A poor Indian Springs.
Okay.
We had
I don't know.
acres of land. Not acres, but we had an acre of land. Everyone had an acre of land, had big backyards.
And you hung chickens from a rope?
Yeah, my mom did it really early when I was young, and then my dad started buying chicken.
Oh my God.
I remember going out there because my grandma raised chickens, and my grandma would bring some chickens over. My mom would break their necks and hang them from the line. We'd have like my underwear would be hanging out there next to a chicken.
What about the eggs?
What about the eggs?
Once they're dead, they can't give you any eggs.
Yeah, but the chicken's a lot tastier than the eggs. You get a lot more mileage out of a dead chicken than you do.
You know,
as a
Matt
dead egg.
Hageman loves his chickens like pets.
I know. We did the chicken thing.
Wait.
You know what chickens are?
Wait.
No, you know what chickens are? Chickens are the 4-cat woman.
Okay.
Every woman, I'm beginning to believe that every woman goes through a phase.
Let's have
Chicken phase.
Matt,
We went through a goat phase.
Oh my god.
And I thought it was cool. And then the chicken
goats,
phase.
like they're like you can put a leash on them.
You get the chicken coop, you get the whole 9 yards. You're like, great, they're going to graze. No, you can't
Have you
graze
seen
because
Matt?
foxes kill them.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he built this big.
Oh, it's beautiful. And he's got like purebreds.
Yeah, I mean, if you built one right and you want to be able to walk into it,
Yes.
then you get 4 chickens. You think you're getting 4 chickens, and then that one's been as being a rooster.
Yes.
And then you got and then the flies in the summertime are horrible.
Really?
Oh my gosh, we used to have fly traps. I'm not kidding you. A gallon jug, we'd catch a gallon of dead flies almost
because of the
once every
chickens.
2 3 Yeah, they crap everywhere. There's poop everywhere.
Okay, so that's probably not the play I should do for.
It's not like you can train a chicken to go poop. And then
what about in the
we
winter?
had foxes.
What do you do in the winter? Do you have to put a heater in there?
Sometimes.
Yeah, because it gets cold.
Yeah. Chickens are fun to have for a little period of time, but then once they start dying off, you're like, okay, thank goodness. And then we got rid of the chickens. My wife wanted chickens. We got chickens, and then they died off because we had a hawk pick one up, and then another one got burned. And every time I was going out, I was fixing the damn chicken coop. I was going out there.
You're like Farmer Tony.
I like this is so I built my own chicken coop out of PVC pipe, which. I had this grandiose. I was going to build this
PVC pipe. What about?
And then you got to clean it. You got to clean it. They're messy.
Chicken wire?
Yeah, chicken wire. Yeah.
You're like Rancher Tony.
No, anyone's ever done chickens is like it's a boat. Like the best day of your life is when you get your chickens, and the best day is when your last one dies, and you're like, okay, great. But the eggs are killer.
Yeah.
A fresh egg, I'm telling you right now.
Yep.
If you get one right out of its ass, it's the most
Ew.
delicious egg. It's unbelievable. I've had one lay an egg in my hand. And
then you eat it raw?
No, you make scrambled. It's like fresh farm fresh eggs, like an hour are like killer.
Why? What's better about
they're
them?
Creamy. They've got more. It's just killer. Even like a day later, it's not as good. But if you get one like right out of his ass, it's unbelievable. It's killer. So we have a couple interesting stories. I want to do some more fake or real because I posted this morning fake or real, and of course all my friends are like, I like fake boobs. Yeah. I'm like, dude, I'm talking about trees. They're like, no, you're not.
Well, what's the correlation between people who like fake boobs and fake trees?
There's probably
that's really interesting.
And fake flowers.
Yeah. Oh.
A lot of people think this is fake. It's not. It just doesn't die. Mm-hmm. And fake grass. I know that out in L.A., everyone's got fake grass.
It's great.
I saw I see some grass the other day, and it was like,
I'm telling you,
it was so real looking. I was like,
my brother's got some fake grass that, I mean, I know this sounds like for here, like, oh my God, but I am telling you, I would.
I think if it was cost effective.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're doing it there.
I think I'd do fake grass.
Oh.
If it looked. I'm not talking about football field fake grass.
No, I'm telling you.
It's got weeds in it and everything.
No, it doesn't have weeds. It's got but it's got very short color. I went to when I was out in L.A. a couple years ago. Went to a friend of my son's house, and again in California they're doing it because of the water conservation and all that and stuff. And I went to their house, and the way they had it set up, there was like they had the swimming pool, and then the grass was kind of out there.
Yep.
I swear, I stood back for a while. I'm like, that can't be fake.
Yep.
I'm looking at it. Finally, I walked over there. I'm like, I just got to walk over there. Yep. I had shoes on. It didn't help. So I took my shoes off. I'm doing this. I'm like, this is real. It's real grass. I'm like, how did you? He's like, the dad's like, and you know how men have pride in their grass?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it was exactly. He's like, no, that's whatever kind of fake. I'm like, that can't be fake. He's like, go down, go down there and look. And I'm telling you, it was, you could not tell the difference other than you couldn't, like, you don't pull them out.
So where do you stand on boobs?
Nah, I'm not a big, the only thing I think the breast augmentation is for a couple reasons. One, if a woman's breasts are so large that it's causing back problems, neck problems, physical problems, or psychological problems, there's just a breast reduction, I think, is fine. I also think, obviously, after breast cancer or a mastectomy, reconfiguration to help them feel better about themselves, just popping fake boobs in there. I mean, I'm not vehemently opposed, but it's not my thing. It's just not my
What
thing.
if they're just too small?
I mean, I understand it. I mean, if somebody has, again, well, now you get into an issue of how small.
Or they don't look good.
What about, you mean like disfigured?
No, they just don't. They're not good looking boobs.
Well, what is that? You mean like one is bigger than the other?
No, some women have boobs that aren't. They don't think they look very attractive.
I think, so
or as they get older, they start sagging.
Yes.
They don't perky like they used to be.
No, but it's okay. I think all things in moderation, because I've told you this. I feel the same thing about like facelifts and stuff. If you are over 40, 30, over 30, over 40, and your boobs are as perky as a 16-year-old, you look weird. You look weird because you're over. I mean, to me, that's the whole point. Is like I understand about this, and far be it from me to make a judgment call. But you're asking about my preference. I think your body should be at least consistent within range.
Sure.
Within range of your age. And I told you, this is my biggest concern, or biggest thing I don't like about facial work is your face looks 18, your neck looks 50.
Yep.
And then for me, and this is men and women, I'm wanting to know, okay, if you're 18 here, 50 in your neck, what's going on down there?
Yeah.
So it's gotta look natural.
I worked in the bar business, in the restaurant business for a long period of time doing my radio stuff. And saw a lot of both. And obviously, men would prefer, I'm just talking from a man's standpoint, men would prefer real if they're great. We'll look at anything. But there's some guys that love the fake ones. But now I've had a lot of women that had fake ones, and then they get them taken out later on in life because they just don't like them anymore. And I'm kind of like, okay. And then they got to go back to why'd you get them fake? But it takes a special man to be married or cohabitate with a woman who's got, because they're not theirs, and women treat them differently. I've been around a lot of women who were pretty conservative, and then when they got the fake boobs, they had to show them off. I've seen that break up marriages.
Why?
Because they feel like they need to show them off.
No, but
They've got something brand new. It's like wearing new clothes or having a brand new Corvette or anything else. You want to show it off. You want people to know what you have.
But whose fault is that? That's so interesting.
And just the size itself isn't enough.
Whose fault is that? That's really interesting. So you get a pair of...
And I'll say this. I do believe it should be a decision made by the man and the woman. I know a lot of women are like, whoa, hey, yo. If your wife or your girlfriend is getting fake boobs, I do think, well, I'll say,
it should be
a discussion.
Yeah,
because it is going to change, and there ain't a woman out there ain't got an
but
augmentation.
you don't get as a male.
You don't get the last call.
Yeah, you don't get the call. You can weigh in.
And in most cases, guys are going to go, why would I not want that? I'm just telling you, I've seen a lot of guys. They become second fiddle to their wife's breast.
That's so interesting.
After a while, the nudist wears off.
That speaks a lot about the guy and the relationship.
Yeah, and it seems like you're either going to get them really early. Now I worked at, I did gigs at Sammy's and all that, and they're going to do them for their profession or whatever, or contest or whatever. You either get them really young, which I think is stupid because I'm like, you're still not fully developed. And if you got a great rack, then why mess with them? Don't mess with them. Or you're going to get them like when you're in your 40s when they start to sag. And if you do that, then you're also in that 7 to 20 year window of a marriage. It all kind of comes together.
I mean, I think, listen.
It's like getting your teeth whitened.
Listen, I have at least a few friends who are plastic surgeons, and I've told you that, the whole show Botched. I'm always blown away by, and you giving me the rationale for this, but I'm always blown away by men and women who have just the over the top plastic surgery. It's surgery after surgery. And I told you, I'm always blown away by like, who is a physician saying, sure, we'll do that. And your rationale is, well, it's better that I, the physician, do it than some other botched job. Yeah. I get that. But plastic surgery is so good now that I definitely think you can have augmentation for whatever reason, and have it look consistent with your age. Because I'm telling you, and I'm saying this to men and women,
Yeah.
when you, particularly with social media, if you're all of a sudden posting pictures of yourself, and with guys, it's typically steroids, and when they're younger, you go from this big, and now all of a sudden you're completely shredded, and you're not kidding anybody. Like that's the world knows what you're doing, and they kind of don't appreciate it. At least I don't.
Yeah.
And I say the same thing with sort of cosmetic surgery. Do what you want. Have the cosmetic surgery. It's okay, but don't make yourself look like somebody you used to try to want to be, because you don't fool anybody.
But that's the whole idea.
But it's moderation. I guess what I'm saying is moderation.
Yeah.
If you're 50, fine. Make yourself, your breasts have sagged, your pecs have sagged, age, time, gravity, great. Tighten yourself up a little bit.
But outside the woman who's got the back issues and they're just too big, that is one of those, well, here's a C. Now we can go up a size.
I know.
Well, let's take a look at that. Well, no, we could put the GPS tracking on this car. We could go up, and your payments are only going to be $2 more a month. Well, let's take a look at those. What do you think?
As long as you're already doing this, we should go right.
Should we go a little bigger?
Right.
We're like, well, it's because
I know
because bigger is better. Let me ask you this: do you think? And I don't even know what breast augmentation goes for. Is it $5-6 grand, something like that? Good.
It's pretty.
Yeah.
It's not cheap. I don't know, but it's not cheap. I would say, it's probably about $5.
If men had the opportunity to get augmentation there, would they do it?
We already talked to Brian Christine about this. Remember?
I mean, but that's not. It's not if you
elongation. You mean, or girth? Is that what you mean?
No, I mean I don't think.
Or
I don't know a guy that
shaking.
I don't know a guy that wouldn't do that. But if they just didn't like the way it looked, if you watch those Peroni commercials.
Yeah,
all the different types of zucchinis and cucumbers and bananas. I'm like, and I never realized, because I thought I really didn't. I realized that sometimes the curvature went the wrong way and that was an issue. But I thought for the most part, every one of them looked the same. Just the length and the girth was different. I thought for sure that the curvature was pretty much the standard 4% curvature, the hill thing. And now I'm realizing that there's left, right, squiggly lines. They look like balloons, and I'm going, really?
So to me, the difference would be.
So if you didn't like the way you looked,
I mean,
you could do it and not.
I think you would have to, for a man. Well, geez, a lot of this.
And would a woman be okay with that?
No, but let's listen. This is also, particularly if you're male, heterosexual or homosexual. I mean, it makes a whole. There is a difference there about your sexual preference. I mean, think about it. If you're homosexual, if you're a gay man, you're not looking at boobs are not a thing.
Yeah.
I mean, you're looking at boobs, but you know what I mean. Boobs are not a thing.
Yeah.
The whole thing is, it's your body, including your genitalia. But I guess the question would be, and again, this is hard because I'm a straight male. So unless I had some, a Peroni's or some disfigurement or some scarring or just something, I'd have to see pictures of what my options were.
Yeah, I think most men.
Like what would they do?
I don't know. But I think most men are pretty proud of what they got, or at least they
until they see. Well, no, but.
Unless they're watching, porn. Or,
no, but that's what I'm saying. Let's say, again, like boobs. Let's say you're male. Again, I think it makes a huge difference, gay or straight. I think it makes a big, big difference because.
Let's go straight. Because we don't have.
Right, yeah. So what are you doing it for? Many women will say, and we've said that all the time, don't show me that. It's got its purpose.
Yeah.
It ain't pretty.
We'd like to think they want to see it.
Yeah, but they don't.
Yeah, they don't.
Like, they don't. It's not that they're going to hide from it, but they don't. Like, nobody looks at a dildo and goes, oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's got a purpose.
Yeah.
It's got a purpose. So, like, guys, it's almost as if straight men are more proud of their junk to show off to other straight men.
Yeah.
Oh, look at me. But it's not. Like, get over yourself.
I think the straight it's probably about even, just like Christmas trees.
I just don't know what you would do.
Because I know some guys that love fake, and and some guys are like, I love real if they're, but again, after a period of time, it changes. Your tree starts to sag a little bit.
No, but I understand that. But I mean, I would want to see what my options were.
Yeah.
I have no idea. Now listen, they've got implants of
Go through a book.
That's what
I'm
what
liking.
do you think
I'm liking B37.
What do you think they do with boobs?
Yeah.
And then they could, they can do the like they Photoshop it.
Yeah.
So they can Photoshop for you. Here's how you'd look.
Yeah.
Here's it with a little angle to the right.
It is a little strange though, and sometimes we have the Dallas Cowboy cheerleader show on because it's a great documentary.
I know who made the team, by the way. I watched the last episode.
My TV is stuck on that channel, that and Baywatch. And so sometimes if you're going to do fake, make sure it looks like we have to question whether it's fake or real.
Well, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
Unless you're just you don't care. And you're just like, I'm going fake. I don't care if people think it's fake, and it's fake because sometimes when they're so far apart, and most guys will complain because they're too hard. We like the texture.
But now that's very natural feeling.
Yeah. All right, there you go.
Okay. What the hell was that? Cut that for a good podcast. That's some good stuff.
Speaking of which, a Florida woman was arrested yesterday. This is one of those Christmas stories that is just like weird. After police say she walked into the Citrus County home, which was a nursing home, during a Christmas party, and undressed herself before hugging and sitting on multiple people, including several who were 65 years or older. Police say 35-year-old Heather Cruz, and she's not a bad-looking woman. She looks kind of normal there. 35-year-old Heather Cruz of Dunlin walked in the Citrus County home through a side door. Once inside, Cruz removed her clothing and exposed her before she grabbed and hugged the homeowner, the person who actually owned the home.
Oh.
According to police, when Cruz was told to stop, documents said she then sat on the lap of two of the residents while naked, saying, "You like that, don't you?" to one of the victims.
That's assault. That's assault.
Police say two of the home's occupants then attempted to remove Cruz and escort out the front door. At the time, still nude, Cruz reportedly grabbed the testicles of another individual and made several rude remarks. When police arrived, Cruz was ordered to put her shirt on, but is accused of resisting officers. Cruz then handcuffed and placed in the rear of a patrol car where officers attempted to close the door. Then Cruz kicked the officer in the chest. More officers arrived, and Cruz was moved to another squad car before she allegedly kicked a second officer in the chest.
Meth.
She now faces 3 counts of battery on persons 65 years of age or older.
Yeah.
Is that a special battery if you
That's I mean, that's an assault.
No, but is there an age there where if you attempt
elderly, there's an elderly battery.
God, I'm 10 years away from being elderly?
Yes, you are.
Holy crap. 2 counts of battery on law enforcement and 1 account of resisting an arrest with the violence, burglary, and battery exposure of sexual organs and battery. She was held on a $48,000 bond. Didn't say. I don't know why she'd be walking into it. That reminds me of the nursing home woman last Christmas. Do you remember the story we did?
Mm-mm.
Where she was asked what she wanted for Christmas. And she said she wanted a stripper to come in and dance for her, and they did it for her.
See, but that's wonderful.
I think so, too. She was 93 years old.
That's heartwarming.
She's like, I want a stripper, and they were like,
sure.
Can't do that. And so a guy came in and danced for her, and they got hammered for it. I'm like,
Why?
dude, she's 93 years old. Let her have her special day.
Warms my
He
heart.
came around. It wasn't nasty. He didn't do anything sexual to her, but he came out and did the whole Chippendales thing
wonderful.
and danced for her. And
who was upset about
that?
The
rest of the place was clapping. There's a video
Can
out
you
there.
imagine?
The rest of the place was clapping hands while he was dancing. They were loving it. The guys were laughing. It was great. And then some daughter, son of some grandma said that's despicable. My grandma shouldn't be exposed to that crap. I got news for you. She loved it. She's 93 years old.
Fine. Listen, I'd be fine exactly the other way too. 93-year-old man. The 93-year-old man said, "I would love to have a beautiful burlesque woman, a female stripper, come in." He's 93 years old.
Now, I would probably say we're going to do this in your room.
Yeah, I mean,
or I'd say, listen, Mr. Wilson in 137 is going to have a stripper come in as a Christmas gift.
No, but it's on
It was on the Christmas wish tree.
No, it's on the schedule.
It's on the schedule.
132 in the rec room.
Bingo, beef stroganoff stripper at 3:15, right? And you're like, I can't wait till bingo. I can't wait. And then you're like, if you want to come to Mr. Wilson's room at 1:30, she'll be there.
I think that's wonderful.
I do too.
I mean, listen. when you know my story, when my youngest was in the hospital, he had a staph infection, and I went downstairs to get something to eat.
Yeah.
While I was there, I come back. He's got a do-rag that says Hooters on it, and he's got a Hooters teddy bear. He was like 10. I'm like, I came back. I'm like, what? It's like, Dad, it was really great. These women from Hooters came. They came around as the children's hospital, and they gave out teddy bears. And he's like, they were so nice. My first question was like, what were they wearing? Well, they're little. I was like, and he thought it was great. I thought it was great.
Now that's
they
fine.
Didn't do a lap dance.
Now that's fine for old people, right?
This was my son.
Yeah.
It was okay.
Like if you're a 45-year-old and you're in the hospital.
No, that's not okay. Well, let's stop.
So,
We can play all kinds of scenarios. If this is your dying wish, sure.
Yeah. If you're 93,
you get whatever.
At that age, you get whatever you want.
You get whatever you want. Yeah. If Betty White wants an entire, do they still have Chippendales? Is this still a company?
I think so. Yeah.
If she wants an entire Chippendales dance, she should have it.
Speaking of Betty White,
is she dead?
No, she's still alive. She made a list. A list of, the list came out yesterday. Celebrities most guys would like to have a beer with.
Betty White came out with that?
No, this is a list. Betty White's on the list.
Oh,
celebrities most guys would like to have a beer with.
I'd have a beer with Betty White.
Yeah, but these are celebrities that guys would most like to have a beer with.
Well, someone just stuck that in there then. What is this?
No, because there were 2,000 people that voted on this thing. Kate Beckinsale, Emma Watson, Margot Robbie, Anna Kendrick. I don't get the Anna Kendrick thing, by the way.
I like Anna Kendrick. She's interesting.
She's interesting.
That's why
that's why she's on this list.
Yeah. The other ones, go ahead.
Betty White was 11th.
Okay. Scarlett Johansson,
Jennifer Lawrence, Emilia Clarke, Emily Blunt, Jennifer Aniston was number 4, number 7. Gal Gadot.
Mm-hmm.
I think Gal Gadot's beautiful. I think she's amazing. I think she's a great actress, Wonder Woman, but she's not. She doesn't fit this list. Scarlett Johansson's number 5, Sandra Bullock number 4, Mila Kunis number 3, Emma Stone's number 2, and Kristen Bell is number 1.
I would put Julia Roberts on there. I would put Julia Roberts because you're talking about having a beer, right?
Julia Roberts should be on there, but
I'd put Ashley Judd.
I'd say Julia Roberts.
Wait, these are celebrity. Hang on, but these were male.
These are 2,000 guys. What woman celebrity?
Oh, woman celebrity. It wasn't just any celebrity. It was woman.
Yeah, they're all
women. I put Julia Roberts. I put Ashley Judd. I know she got some backlash, but I think she's interesting.
Yeah, and I'd say that Julia Roberts maybe is a little older for this list.
Yeah,
but she's fun.
Was she?
But what are all these? What do all of these women, for the most part, with the exception of Gal Gadot, what are
fake boobs?
No, no, no. They're women that don't intimidate us.
Was Scarlett Johansson on there?
Scarlett Johansson's on there, but she's like we talked about her the other day. She's number 1 on every list because she's not drop dead fantastically wow beautiful. She doesn't intimidate us. She's got a couple of deficiencies.
So like Melania Trump would not be on there.
No.
Because she's
scary. First of all, she's not fun. I mean, Melania Trump would be
maybe
fun.
She is.
If she just got drunk, she'd just lie there.
Maybe. You don't know that. She could be a lot of fun.
She is not fun. Melania Trump, she can't be fun. Not being married to Donald.
This list is it's interesting.
We like women, and I say this. Kristen Bell, I think, is one of the most beautiful women, and the reason she is she's fun. One of her eyes is in just a little bit.
I noticed.
You ever notice that? And guys love that because it shows a deficiency, a deformity, if you will, and that makes us feel like we have a better shot. We're not intimidated by that because she looks just a little. But she's beautiful. She's incredible. But guys like that because we like
oh my God.
Beautiful
we're
women.
So insecure.
I know we are very
God,
insecure.
it's just like every time.
We like a woman with flaws. We like flawed women that have deficiencies because it makes us feel better about ourselves because we know we're flawed.
Listen.
We know we're messed up. We're talking about Peronis.
Well, listen, that's not just a male thing. It really isn't. There is it's called social comparison theory, and there is definitely a range. We want someone that we're attracted to. We want them to. We're attracted to them because we believe and perceive that they're beautiful, attractive. I mean, we've talked about this with chemistry. It gets really interesting because what I'm attracted to, you might not be attracted to. And while we could say sort of objectively in our culture, these are attractive traits, even though they're attractive traits, we may not be drawn to them. So I think to your point, one of the things that we are drawn to are people who don't intimidate us, number one. Number two, people that we feel, and this is kind of related, that we might be able to connect with socially, not sexually. And so, yes, if somebody, if a celebrity looks not like, well, here's the other thing. Kim
Kardashian's on this list. Men don't like women, first of all. We hear this all the time about beautiful women who could never get dates.
Yeah,
because they're unapproachable.
Have you ever here's what I would tell you if you're a man. If you're a straight man, go to those pictures on the internet of the female celebrities with no makeup.
Yeah.
Because that's what you're getting. That's what you're going to be. And that's what you should be saying, am I attracted to that? Because look, you and I, where is it? There's one of our publicity shots, right? You're like, God, we look good. We look tan.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah. Right. Yeah. And then there's a picture of you and us smoking cigars in the backyard.
Yeah, we don't look good.
No, but you see what I mean? Like, I mean, that is, and I saw this. I am fascinated by the no makeup pictures because I really, if you look at so many of our celebrities, men and women, how many times have you seen candid shots of male celebrities? And you're like, dude, that doesn't look like him.
Yeah.
Well, because he's doesn't have any makeup on.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's, you want to be attracted to somebody, and I know we talk about this with first dates, and obviously everybody wants to look their best first date. Your first date, you should be clean, but you should be as stripped down as you can.
But if women did a list of the top 10 guys they'd want to have a beer with, it wouldn't be Seth Rogen.
Well,
it wouldn't be Pete Davidson. It would be.
Oh, they're weird.
It would all be the rock hard dudes.
No.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah, it would be.
No, it wouldn't.
Yeah, it would be.
No.
I'll find a list. I'm telling you.
It's got to be interested.
There would be a couple of guys on there just because there's not enough of them.
There'd have to be some. You got to have some.
It'd be Leonardo DiCaprio. It'd be George Clooney. It'd be chiseled dudes that got together.
Clooney's a good example.
Clooney would be on the list because he's a fun guy.
I mean, hell,
it'd be Brad Pitt. It'd be the same list of dudes. Yeah, they're all chiseled dudes.
Well, I want to go. Yeah, but okay. So who else?
Because women know they have a better shot.
But that's not. If you're having a beer, but that's the difference. Is the question is not who do you want to have a date with because you think you can sleep with them. It's who would you want to have a beer with.
No, if you're having a beer with, you want to sleep with them.
No,
yeah, you do.
Stop.
No, if you're going to go out and have a beer with somebody, it's a date.
It's no.
Who would you want to have?
You would go. You were going to go. God rest her soul. You were going to go. Don Wells and Julie Andrews. Were you going to sleep with both of them?
I would.
Come on.
Not so much Betty White.
Stop.
Only because she's 11th on this list. I think Betty White would be one of those. Let me go out with Kristen Bell first, and then if I get room for another beer, then I'll go meet with Betty White
because she's got a story to tell.
She's got knowledge. Yeah.
I mean, I think
she'd be funny.
You're going to hammer on me. You're going to hammer on me.
Of course I am.
But I mean, I would. I'm not going to tell you my list.
Who's your list?
My list is. I mean, my list would be different because that list to me is that list is really It's not a go out and have a beer list. It's a have a beer and hope I can get laid list.
Yeah, well,
but that's different. Come on, okay. So if we change it to coffee.
Doesn't matter.
But that's exactly what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying is who would you have on a list of female celebrities that you simply were interested in and found interesting and would want to have a conversation? What is it? Who are the 3 famous people that you would want to eat dinner with?
Yeah.
That's what it should be. Yeah. Change it from beer.
Well, and you throw in the beer, and you're thinking maybe they get a little loosey-goosey after they drink a beer.
Come on, guys.
Yeah, that's what guys think. Because if we're going to have one beer, it's going, we'll have 2 or 3 beers.
Dude. We got to raise the bar.
Kelly Kuko has a birthday today. She's 36. She's not on this list. She kind of looks like fun. She was on the list, but she was like 23rd. Ben Stiller, not a dude that women want to have a drink with, even though he's funny, 56. Billy Idol today has a birthday.
72.
66. Whew, he looks rough. He's holding on to his Billy Idolism.
He should have let it go.
Chrissy Teigen. I'm over Chrissy Teigen.
God, Chrissy Teigen's got to be in her 50s.
She's 36. John Legend's woman?
Oh, I was thinking somebody else. I was thinking
Bo Jackson.
He's got to be 42.
He's 59.
50. I'm not
42?
I'm sorry.
And Diane Parkinson.
Who's that?
From The Price is Right. She's the one that I think Bob Barker had a little tryst with.
She's the one who pointed out the boxes?
She is. She pointed out the boxes.
Okay,
yes.
72.
She's 77.
You know whose anniversary it is?
Whose?
Wedding anniversary?
Who?
Sammy Hagar.
Sammy, that's right. I saw that.
Did you see that?
I retweeted that last night.
He's becoming a little. I have a bromance with him.
Yeah.
We both do.
Yeah.
You know what I like about him? He has. It's like the Damon Johnson kind of thing. Kind of. So Sammy was Sammy. He was just Sammy. But Sammy is embracing, I think, his age.
He's trying.
Right? He's walking around with the stupid little Yorkshire Terrier that looks like if you're thinking Sammy Hagar, was it Paul Stanley? Posted a picture to cook Thanksgiving. See, I don't know if we should hate that or we should love that.
We should love that.
I love it.
We should,
I love it.
They're speaking to their audience, their crowd, the people who love them most. And there's younger people that like them too. But what I love about it is it's showing their authenticity.
That's what I'm saying.
And that's why we like to see Nick Saban frying a turkey.
Or smiling.
Or getting outside what we think they're really like.
That's right.
I totally agree with you. When Sammy's posting pictures with his grandma, and I'm going, what the hell are you doing?
Right.
I was like, that's pretty cool.
Is Damon a grandfather? Did I say that? Did I make that up?
I don't
Maybe
think
not.
so.
Let me say. But I think to me, there is nothing more attractive than somebody who is truly comfortable in their own skin and becomes and continually is comfortable in their own skin.
Yeah.
I've said it. This is one of the things that attracted me to my wife was she embraced her strengths and weaknesses. She readily acknowledged her flaws.
Yeah.
She was actively trying to be a better person, and obviously she didn't talk about it on the first date, but that's not something that she's hiding and protecting.
Yeah.
And I think that when you see somebody who is just covering some stuff up, I think it, just from an evolutionary standpoint, it makes them a little sketchy.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Oh yeah.
You're kind of like, okay, what are you not showing me?
Yeah.
And I think so many people, it's harder for celebrities. I do think it's harder for celebrities because you do run into that. Okay, if I bear it all, if I tell you exactly how I feel, it's going to be bits and pieces and all that kind of stuff. But I do think that it is incredibly deeply attractive when you meet somebody who has their flaws, acknowledges their flaws, and whether they're physical flaws or not, and it's just they have that sort of comfort level. They're not uncomfortable.
One place that does deal with a lot of flaws is the Jimmy Hill Mission. It's one of our favorite places, one of our biggest sponsors in our partnerships. We love them. The official charity of Tony Curry Radio is the Jimmy Hill Mission. JimmyHillMission.org, JimmyHillMission.org. Now's the time, baby. It got down the 20s again last night. Homeless people, and as you get older, you'll realize you know more of them than you do. We're one paycheck away from being homeless. A lot of people are having difficult times right now. The Jimmy Hill Mission will help you vocationally. They'll help you mentally, physically, spiritually. They're there for you. All you got to do is get online, JimmyHillMission.org, or you can go to our website, TonyCurryRadio.net, TonyCurryRadio.net. There's a donation button. $5 a week will save the life of a man or woman or child. It's science. It's the way it works. A lot of them have addictive properties. They need your help. The Jimmy Hill Mission isn't there to be a Band-Aid. They're there to fix the whole situation, get you back in the community, get you back to the person that God created, and be the best version of yourself. They do that through Jimmy Hill Mission. I love the Jimmy Hill Mission. Michael Coleman, I haven't seen him in few months. I've
Probably
reached
quite
out to
busy
him.
right now.
He is just getting hammered right now. He's like, I'm so busy right now. But a great guy. Check out jimmyhillmission.org, jimmyhillmission.org, or TonyCurryRadio.net, TonyCurryRadio.net, and hit that donation button. You can make out a big difference, and we'll send a big fat check at the end of the year. Do another sponsor here, and then we're going to talk about some college football. I got to get into it because I got blown up last night about Brian Kelly going to LSU, and I was like, what?
Yeah,
I said,
right.
are you, what?
What?
That came out of nowhere. I'm going to read you what he wrote to his football team late last night. He texted his football team and told them this. I'll tell you what he wrote.
Texted him?
Yes, he did. It's and what's killing college football, what's bad about college football is its biggest asset. We'll talk about that after you talk about one of our great sponsors.
So I'm going to tell you about Woodhouse Day Spa. My wife was there last night. We'd been traveling. She'd had a gift certificate she was sitting on. They are absolutely amazing. Woodhouse Day Spa is located up at the summit. Telephone number is 905-7676. It is 5,000 square feet of luxury. It is like going to a resort. Stuart Rome and his team right now, this is the time where when you're trying to figure out what gift do I get for somebody, you give them a gift certificate to Woodhouse Day Spa. You can go online, birmingham.woodhousespas.com, birmingham.woodhousespas.com. I've said it a million times. They have the most amazing gift certificates. You're like, what? They are beautiful works of art. And listen, it's appropriate for anybody. I've had people ask me, ooh, this is a work colleague. Should I give them, does it send the wrong message? Should I give them Absolutely, because it's not just a massage or it's not just a facial or manicure, pedicure. It is a gift of self-help and self-care. Call them today, 905-7676, or go online, get your gift certificate today. It's birmingham.woodhousespas.com. That's birmingham.woodhousespas.com.
Tony Curry Radio, your home for Curry and Klapow in the mornings. Classic rock the bone all day long. We have new shows every single night of the week. Later on tonight, it is Adapt or Gents, Adapt or Perish with Dr. Alex Hubline and Dr. Josh Klapow. That show is great. Talk about real quick what that show's all about. I know it's a business show, mainframes, IT, all that stuff, but just talk about
it is hard. It's a technology show.
Yeah.
But I think it's really about how do you think about and run your business in a way that you can keep up with the constant changes that are business. And I think one of the things that is important about the show right now is we have all these factors. I'm going to just say it. The pandemic has created these business decisions that I don't care how long you've been in business, you're having to make decisions that you probably never had to make before.
Yeah.
Because this is a generational thing. It's not a recession. Mm-hmm. And so the show is really about how do you make those decisions to adapt not only to what's going on out around you, but to what's true to what you believe about your business.
Yeah, and this isn't just about adapted, gent. That's the beautiful thing about this show.
Oh, no.
If you're a business owner, I listen to it just because I'm a business owner.
Yeah.
And you do need to learn how to. You can sit there and say, this is the way I'm doing it. This is the way I do it. I've always done this. And that's fine. But
as
you
long as
have
it's working
to,
for you.
and we use Nick Saban as an example in a lot of ways.
Yes.
You've got to change. Okay, are we going to go hurry up now?
Yes.
There are some qualities of a football team. You got the three parts: special teams, offense, defense. Those always have to be good. You have your roles to play and blah, 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 blah. But you do have to, it's constantly evolving. The size is getting bigger. They're getting faster. They're getting stronger. There's just different things you have to adapt. So
Dr. Hubline is really good about that. That is his background, his business
He drops
strategy.
the word adapt about 75 times an hour, which is an
okay.
amazing thing. I love that. I think he set a record for how many times he did that. Tomorrow night is going to be Livewire Wednesday, our most listened to show. Probably because it's international. We have a ton of people that listen in Australia, where the official fan club for AC/DC is. That show is huge. Brought to you by Southern Precision Staffing for all your staffing needs, construction, otherwise. 205-682-2828, 205-682-2828. Kai Greger is a good friend of mine. Love being in partnership with him. Fantastic work. They're right here in Hoover, but they serve the United States of America, just like Tony Curry Radio does. So check that show. If you love AC/DC, you realize just how much you love that band. Listen again tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. Austin Hanks, Blues Almighty, coming up on Thursday. Guess who a special guest is going to be? Tony Curry.
Oh, it's like I said.
He texted me yesterday. He goes, man, we've had Matt Sorum on from Guns N' Roses. We have Billy Gibbons on. We've had Reed on. We've had Blackberry Smoke on. He goes, I think it's time to get Tony Curry on Blues Almighty. I said, I would be honored. I was like, really? And he's like, yeah. He goes, awesome. Yeah, so I'm going to do an interview with him today, so I'll be on Thursday night. And then Damon Johnson is going to be on Friday night for our big show. He's going to be doing his top 6 or his first 6 songs that he learned. I believe that's what we're doing here. We've had some of these. No, actually. But we're going to have
Twinkle Little Star. Yankee Doodle Dandy.
That's the one I learned on the guitar. Twinkle Twinkle Little Star is the one. I still screw it up. So that's going on Friday night, 8 o'clock. So new shows every single night of the week right here on Tony Curry Radio. Big splash in college football. There's a lot going on right now in that sport that I knew would happen eventually, but it's all happening at one time. It started with obviously the kids being able to get paid. We went
although
from
that kind of
you can't even have an agent sign a napkin. Now you better have an agent signing a napkin. Kids are getting paid there, which I did not think, because we wanted to keep it an amateur sport. Once it went to the government, I knew we were screwed from that standpoint. I still don't think I don't think it affects enough kids to make it that big of a deal.
Right.
I know the Bryce Young $1 million deal, and I thought it was funny when Nick Saban was sitting there talking, this ain't the pros, these kids ain't getting paid. I'm like, oh, yes, they are.
And they actually are.
He went on his rant. I'm like, oh, yes, you're right. Yes, your quarterback is. So don't go there with me. But then you had Oklahoma, Texas.
Yeah.
Go from the Big 12 to the SEC, which was like, what?
Yeah.
I mean, that's enough to cripple any conference trying to save face. Then you had the AAC with UAB going there. Yep. You got James Madison doing their thing, the Sun Belt. I mean, it's going to be like NASCAR. You know, you used to have your DuPont. I knew Jeff Gore was the DuPont guy, right? Until he retires. Right. Now it seems like guys get different sponsors every year. I don't know who the hell drives the Cheerios car. I don't know who drives the DuPont car. I don't know who drives the Budweiser. It's like, what in the world? They're all changing sponsors. For the longest period of time, I'm sitting there looking at the Haviland guy, Davey Allison. Davey Allison was the Haviland guy. He was always the Haviland guy, right? The big star on the. And now it's like, so I'm almost confused of who's going where and when they're going there and who's going here. And so,
well, and then throw in there in addition. I'm not. You have the transfer portal.
Yeah, you got the transfer portal. So I mean, college football is looking like if you just woke up out of a coma, you're like, what the hell's going on, right? Then you get the Lincoln Riley thing, which I thought was really strange, because I think coaches want to play in the SEC because the SEC is the best college football conference, bar none, period. I don't see that changing. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, you're fixing to come into the SEC. Why would you want to leave that and go to the Pac-12? But then I'm thinking, much like Bobby Bowden used to always say, I put the cream puffs up front, man. I want to go 4-0 for the first month of the season. Then we can get into what we're all about. I understand that. A lot of basketball teams do that. They play the St. Mary's School for the Poor early in the season to find out where their teams are. They don't want to get into this Maui Classic right off the bat, although the money's there. And so I'm like, wow, that was kind of weird.
We don't know. Do we know the terms of his deal?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. And then, there's stuff out there. Obviously, there's more money he was making in Oklahoma. And then the Brian Kelly thing drops yesterday.
Yeah.
And when I heard it, I was like, wow. And it doesn't surprise me because it's just nothing surprises me anymore. Dan Mullen going from one SEC school to another SEC school was kind of like, wow, you're in the SEC. That tells you, Mississippi State, you're not going to be vying for a championship anytime soon. So, of course, he gets fired at Florida. So I'm a Catholic guy. I talk a lot about, but whenever Notre Dame comes up, people want to ask me about Notre Dame because it's a Catholic school, and they think I know more than other people. I know Brian Kelly. I don't know him well. I've had dinner with him when he was at Cincinnati, and they came to town at the BBVA Compass Bowl, or one of those bowl games they had down in Birmingham. And by the way, it's going to be a protective stadium. I love the fact that bowl game is going to be a protective stadium. Yes. It's going to look so good on TV, and UAB and the city of Birmingham's done a wonderful job with that stadium. And they're having the high school playoffs played there now instead of Legion Field, which is going to take that to an all-new level. So after 12 years at Notre Dame, normally you're leaving a team for a couple reasons. Have you reached your cap on what you can make? Mm-hmm. And he's making about $7 million a year at Notre Dame. And do you have a chance to play for a national championship? Mm-hmm. Notre Dame obviously is not in a conference they were last year because of the COVID thing. They played 8 or 9 ACC games They went back to being independent. And he's played for national titles.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a problem. The one thing about Notre Dame and their schedule is I think they've only played 2 top 25 teams this year, but they don't play any cream puffs for the most part. For the most part, they don't play, Fulton State. They're always playing somebody from a Power 5 conference, okay? It may not be the best teams. They may be Vanderbilt. It may be, but they always play. So week in and week out, they're playing pretty decent teams for the most part. And so I'm thinking, okay, that's not a problem because he's obviously played for a national title, and it's Notre Dame. They've got to deal with NBC.
Yeah.
There's plenty of money there. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, and then to throw the caveat in, and the timing he did it was like, right now Notre Dame's sitting number 6. If Alabama loses to Georgia and they're an underdog for the first time in 92 games, and either Cincinnati, Oklahoma State, and one other team loses, Notre Dame's in. Why would you be leaving Notre Dame, which is known for its college football more so than anything else, right before you have a chance to play for a national championship? There's not a whole lot that needs to happen. And Notre Dame is like one of those Alabamas. It's good for college football, believe it or not, when Notre Dame makes the college playoff because they're like the Dallas Cowboys. You either love them or you hate them, and that's a good story on either side. So I'm thinking, man, what in the world is he thinking to be pulling this thing at the last minute? Now, he's going to be signing a deal with LSU. It is said to be 10 years and $100 million, which, okay, because in 5 years, if he's winning at LSU, he's going to get a push.
So is Ed Orgeron, I mean, I know he was going to be there through the end of the year. Now will he just walk away?
Yeah, well, he's going to walk away anyway.
No, I knew he was going to walk around, but was he? So he was going to stay the coach until they found somebody.
Yeah, and I don't know.
That's weird.
Well, there's a lot of things to play here. If Notre Dame makes the national championship round, I'm assuming that Brian Kelly will coach that. I'm assuming he's going to coach Notre Dame through the end of the year and then take the LSU job.
Okay.
If Notre Dame was 5-6, he'd probably give it the boot and say,
okay.
I'm out of here. I'm coming right now. So I think Ed Orgeron, and because of the dead period and because of the early signing period and all that stuff, it used to be you had to hire somebody before the end of the year in order to get on the recruiting trail, blah, 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 blah. Recruiting's never been an issue at Notre Dame.
No.
The last 3 coaches at LSU have all won national championships, which is something certainly to look at. And LSU is a mecca. It's one of the finest places. It's one of the top 5 jobs in college football. But I could certainly make an argument that Notre Dame as well. This is what he wrote to his players late last night. Man,
that's sorry.
That's how coaches talk to their players. Men. Let me first apologize for the late night text and more importantly for not being able to share the news with you in person that I'll be leaving Notre Dame. There wasn't even a period in that first sentence. I mean, he put leaving Notre Dame at the end. Let you know the news with you in person that I'm leaving Notre Dame.
Wait, yeah, right, okay, yeah.
I am flying back to South Bend tonight to be able to meet with you in the morning, but the news broke late today.
Okay.
And I'm sorry you found out through social media news or news reports.
Okay.
I will have more to share when we meet tomorrow at 7 a.m., but for now, just know that my love for you is limitless, and I am so proud of all that you have accomplished. Our program is elite because of your hard work and commitment, and I know that will continue. I will share more in the morning when we meet. Again, my sincere apologies for not being able to be the one to share the news directly with you, Coach Kelly.
That's fine.
No, it's not.
It's
bullshit.
If the news already broke, well, what are you going to do? If the news already broke, what would you do?
Well,
if he's flying back.
I would think that Coach Kelly has the chutzpah to go to whoever he's going to, which obviously would be the LSU brass.
Right.
And say, listen, I don't want this news getting out until I can talk to my team tomorrow morning.
Yes. No. So I agree with you. I'm saying if it got leaked, you don't think it got leaked out? No, they made the announcement. That's true. I forgot about that. Yes.
So don't give me this shit. Don't give me this. Don't give me this. I apologize for you finding out.
Yes,
because that's got to be the worst way to find out.
Absolutely.
That's like finding out your wife's leaving you from your neighbor.
No, listen. Absolutely.
Okay.
I was thinking
that was punk ass. And I like Brian Kelly. I like what he's done. I know he's been a little.
There's no reason, and there's no reason that LSU need to make the announcement.
No. The second thing I think is really interesting is
if you're the players, oh my God.
We'll talk about that. What do you think?
Well, I just, again, to your point, you're watching ESPN or you're just Twitter feed, whatever. It doesn't matter where you are.
Yep. And
you catch it that your coach is leaving. And you're like, okay, it can't be true, whatever. And then it becomes more and more official.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know the duration, how long between when LSU announced it and he sent the text out.
Yeah.
But it should have been, A, it shouldn't have happened. And B, if it was some sort of miscommunication, I'll just give it, then that text should have gone out the second,
he could have done it the minute he said yes. The minute he signed the paperwork, he could have said, give me 5 minutes. It took him 5 minutes to write that. He could have written and said, listen, I'm currently meeting with L. And listen, this came out of nowhere now. I know whenever there's a job opening, people talk about who's going to Florida, who's going to Oklahoma now, who's going to blah.
When you say it came out of nowhere, though, okay. So
this came out of absolutely nowhere.
So how long?
Because you don't leave a top 5 job to go to another top 5 job.
But it's same with Lincoln Riley. It came out of nowhere to us. How much do you think that there was? How long do you think discussions were going on?
I didn't hear anything about Brian Kelly leaving Notre Dame to go to LSU on anyone's list.
But
now you have a wish list.
But he can still be.
Like when Auburn's job opened up a few years ago, they were talking about Pete Carroll. There's these lists of people. You put them on there. You have a wish list,
right?
And it's like, or Bill Cowher. Bill Cowher's not going to Auburn.
So Lincoln Riley,
but it was fun to think about.
Lincoln Riley to USC was
out there.
It was out there. So it was on USC's wish list, regardless of what Lincoln Riley.
We talked about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And so.
Yeah, it's not.
All right, so he's making $10 million a year. Catholic's got money. Notre Dame's got a ton of money. It's not a problem. There is a contingency of Catholic boosters.
Mm-hmm.
If they wanted Brian Kelly, they would have given him $20 million.
So maybe they didn't want him.
Okay. So, but I don't think that's the case. 5 or 6 years ago, even after they went to the 2012 National Championship game, there was some rumblings going on. They weren't winning the big ball game. They didn't have the right quarterback, blah, 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 blah. This year's different. They lost to Cincinnati, which is a top 4, top 5 team. We'll probably find out later on tonight. That loss is looking better and better, and it was in South Bend. I don't think people have said, well, if you've beaten Cincinnati, do you think he's leaving? Yeah, you're leaving Notre Dame with an opportunity to go play in the college football playoffs if 2 teams lose in front of you, and that's. So
you think there's dirt?
That right now they've got a 53% chance of making the playoffs without even playing their final game when they're done. I don't think it's dirty. I don't think there's any dirt. I don't think it speaks well, certainly, of Notre Dame, because you're leaving. This is unprecedented. We've never seen. This is Nick Saban leaving Alabama to go to Notre Dame. This is unprecedented for a coach to be leaving at the height of his success.
I was going to say, unlike Lincoln Riley's young.
When you say college football, Notre Dame's top 5. Period. You think of Notre Dame, Alabama. You think there's a list of schools. So for him to be leaving that for $3 million a year, that don't jive with me.
So what do you think it is?
I think he's tired. And I don't know. It's more difficult to get Notre Dame than it is LSU, and a lot of people go, if they get a 5-star guy, they're going to figure out a way to get his grades up to get in. And I know a lot of private schools. They always talk about we can't compete. Notre Dame can't compete because it's a private school. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
So, and we'll find out what the deal is. Maybe he just needed a change after 12 years. Maybe he didn't want to be associated. I don't think it's Catholicism. I don't think it's not that he wanted to be associated with a Catholic school.
No.
Maybe he wanted to be in a situation where I think Notre Dame, and you look at the draft choices they've had, Notre Dame could be down every year. They're always going to have guys going in the first and second round. Notre Dame football players are always tough. Their tight ends are good. Their linemen are always good.
Maybe he wanted to be in a conference.
Maybe, well, and I think that if Brian Kelly went to Notre Dame and said, listen, I want to be in the ACC, I think that they did that last year. That was something they didn't have to do. So I don't think that was the choice. I think maybe there were some things that that happened at Notre Dame, some rules, some regulations that kept him from feeling like he could get maybe the best players he possibly needed to.
Like what?
I don't know. I don't know.
Like recruiting rules?
Yeah, no. I mean, the recruiting rules are straight across.
Academic rules?
Maybe he felt like because Notre Dame is such a specialized school, maybe he was missing out on some big time recruits that didn't want to go to a Catholic college. I don't know. Obviously but there's some rub there between him and being at Notre Dame.
Well, I mean,
if Notre Dame wasn't Notre Dame, but it was another Catholic school, I think we had the same issue. It's just the fact that it's Notre Dame. It's the biggest, best Catholic college football school out there. So, and I think it speaks volumes, certainly, to the SEC.
That's what I was gonna say.
It does. I'm going to compare Lincoln Riley and Brian Kelly. Lincoln Riley looks like a pushover to me. The fact that he has an opportunity to come into the SEC, compete at the highest level with Oklahoma. Maybe it was a geographical thing. Maybe Brian Kelly's tired of living in South Bend.
Well,
but something tells me that, Lincoln Riley going to Pac-12 to me feels like I can win a lot. That's why I love that Mike Leach decided to leave Washington State, where he can win 10 games a year and win that conference. He wasn't going to win a national title there, but to go not only at the SEC and compete at the highest level, but to do it at Mississippi State, where he knows recruiting is going to be tough. And for the most part, he's been successful there. He's knocked some teams off, including LSU. And so I'm thinking to myself, okay, this is really bizarre. The truth will find out. I don't know. Maybe it had something to do with his wife. Maybe it had something to do with his health. Well, I don't know what the situation is.
Yeah. I mean, look at where they're both. Listen, nothing against Oklahoma and Indiana, but it is interesting if you click off all the other pieces. You're going from Oklahoma to Los Angeles or Oklahoma to California. You're going from, and I think you said it, Notre Dame is so special, so specialized and special that maybe he did get to this point where he's like, Notre Dame is like, it's like an enigma. It's not, but it is, right? It's not it's not the SEC.
Yep.
It's not. And so, at his stage in his career, and this happens, man. You see this outside of sports all the time. People making decisions, and I know that fans hate this, but making decisions for things that are broader than their professional career.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes what ends up happening, and I've seen this particularly with COVID right now, not directly because of the pandemic, but I've seen this I cannot tell you how many of my executive clients are making moves right now. Yep. They're not, I'm making $3 million here, I'm going to make $20 million. It's my family's here. I'd really like my kids to be over here in this other place. Or my work environment's good. It's good. But if I move over here, it's going to be a better work environment for me. I like the vibe. Don't you think it's possible that
absolutely. We want to think that if you've tasted a national championship, and Notre Dame certainly played for that, and they know they can, all they got to do is go undefeated every year. And I say only go undefeated or lose one game. We know that's a possibility.
How old's Brian Kelly? 60s?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that maybe he's hearing it from the boosters and from the people inside Notre Dame. Hey, listen, it's not enough anymore to get to a national title.
Right.
As fans, we want to go push through. You can make it. You've been there. Then we know you can do it. And so if he doesn't win a national title at Notre Dame, is his legacy going to be that he never won a national title? And does he have a better chance of winning a title at LSU, knowing that there's only a couple things in his way, including Alabama and Nick Saban, who would be going on the way out probably the next 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
Notre Dame, they're competing against everybody. Is it a better chance to win a national title at LSU than it is at Notre Dame? Just based on week in and week out competition, he's probably got a better shot at winning one at LSU. And maybe he feels like he can get invited to the party, but he's just never going to walk home with a good-looking girl. And maybe he's starting to feel that after 12 years.
Yeah.
He's the winningest coach there. He's done everything he possibly do but win a national title.
Right.
Maybe
Well, so that's the topping out. Listen, and
we want to think that if you're a great coach, that you should figure it out and you should win a national title.
There's a
Notre Dame.
personal. Listen, there can be very much a personal decision to say exactly what you said. All right, I've given this thing a run for 12 years. I've always been I've always been there, but we've never won. Our recruiting class has always been good, but it varies. And it's almost like, to some degree, it's the 17-year itch marriage thing. How many more years, I'm 60 whatever years old, how many more years am I going to keep pushing at this one when there's an opportunity? There's nothing guaranteed. It's not a guarantee, but there's an opportunity to do something very different.
Yep.
Very different. This has been a success. They haven't won a national championship, but it's not like the program's tanked. Mm-hmm. It will be a success without me. Yep. God, I can't tell you, Tony, I see this in business all the time. This decision that it's time for me to move on. And people both in business and in sports feel this, you're not being loyal.
Yep.
You're not being loyal. And my view is there's always this point at which, whether it's in business, relationships, or in sports, loyalty is important. But there comes a point where you make this decision that this is my life, ultimately, and I have to make the best decisions for myself and my family. You know it's not going to be popular. You know people are going to hammer on you. Obviously, LSU embraced it, right? So he's going to be embraced there. And I think that unless we find out there's some weird stuff going on, at his age, for as long as he's been there, he probably saw the window and went, why the hell?
Yeah, and he's 60 years old.
That's
He's
what
got
I'm
a
saying.
He's got a 10-year deal. It should take him to 70, which is about where you probably end up if you want to coach that late, and it's $100 million. And it's probably guaranteed he's going to get his money. So from this point on, he doesn't have to worry about having a bad year at Notre Dame and getting fired and have to go through all that garbage. And so maybe he's thinking, okay.
That's a bigger.
But he's also dealing with the possibility of going to LSU and pulling a 5 and 6 season
and getting hammered
and being fired in 3 or 4 years. Ed Orgeron won a national title and he got fired. Now he had some Title IX stuff and a sexual harassment case.
Well, yeah,
some other things going on. But yeah, I mean, it's the grass is greener for him right now, and I can certainly see from a legacy standpoint. But again, at this point, Brian Kelly's legacy, I think, it teeters on whether he's going to win a national.
Oh, absolutely, because this is.
He's going to be the Charles Barkley of college football. If he doesn't win a
plus
national
this
title.
is this. I know this is a stretch, but where I'm an NBA guy. This is LeBron saying I've decided to go to Miami.
Yeah.
Right. So this is people. People are going to hate you for it. The only thing about all this, right, at least at this point, that I don't like, and I agree with you, is if you're a great coach, you don't do a passive text message like that at this level.
It's really weird, though, to go to for Coach Ed Orgeron, who's a coon-ass heart.
I know.
I'm
still
and people love
like,
him. It's great. To Brian Kelly, he's settled down quite a bit. Red-faced, short, little Napoleonic.
He's going to
LSU, but he's settled down a little bit. Kind of short with his, he's certainly better than Charlie Weiss. The other thing I think is really interesting. And this is what I meant by my tweet this morning about what's killing college football is actually its best asset. As a parent of a 13, 14, 15-year-old 5-star recruit that's going to go to any school he wants to go to, is going to be heavily recruited. He's sitting there with the hats in his gym and blah, 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 blah. You got to instill in your kids right now. Most kids do go to a college, I think, for the coach, not the school. If the coach is at the school they want to go to, perfect. It's a slam dunk. We are like these poor kids. How could he do this? Now, even if he had done it right and got the word out ahead of time.
Still leaving, yeah.
He's still leaving. And there are probably a lot of kids. I don't know how many kids signed up to go to Notre Dame because of Coach Kelly. A lot of kids go to Alabama because of Nick Saban or Brian Harsin.
Wouldn't you think that besides the program, I mean, you are going because of the coach?
The coach ultimately, or the defensive coordinator, or the recruiting coach.
That's
the guy that gets you in there. And again, if you got a school like Notre Dame or in Alabama, that's certainly frosting on the top of the cupcake. But I continually hear these poor kids, they went there, and we have transfer portals now. So if you don't want to go there, and for all I know, he may end up taking half his damn team with him to LSU, which is
the transfer portal.
Yeah. So don't think.
What a bizarre. Think about this.
Right now, everyone's phone, the ringer's on.
Oh my God!
If you're in Notre Dame, you're a coach there.
I was just thinking about it. So you think they showed the pictures, the video footage of Lincoln Riley and team, not team. I'm sorry, and his staff in the cloak of darkness, right, getting on the plane. But just the way you describe it, now it's that and 12 players, and we're all on the plane, and everybody's moving. I mean, it does it to completely change. It makes it interesting.
Yeah,
I don't know what it says. It makes it hard for the diehard fan of the school.
Yeah, and think about other sports too. We've got a good friend of ours that works for a local television station that's got a daughter that plays basketball. And I thought, okay, what was a situation where she goes, gets a scholarship, she really loves this coach, and the coach decides he wants to leave or splits? I can understand where that would be heart-wrenching. That would be heartbreaking.
It is.
Do I want to, as an 18-year-old child, do I want to pick up all my crap from my dorm room and move to El Paso?
Thank you. Listen,
to go be
I
my
think
coach.
that's the other thing. I think we do forget this. I think we forget this a lot.
It's a big move. It's a big move to move out of your mom and dad's house to college, and then all of a sudden, am I going to follow my coach somewhere else?
How many players have we heard who have struggled with what a lot of college kids struggle with, which is the move? And particularly if you're going from, I'm just using Bryce, if you're going from L.A. to Alabama, or you're going, if you're going far away, it doesn't even mean out of the culture. That is a huge change. And we do, come on, they're football players. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Some of the biggest problems that we have seen during COVID in terms of players have been the isolation and the quarantine protocols have absolutely not just, they've destroyed a lot of college kids and their mindset and stuff. But if you're an athlete, it's all about school and focusing on your sport. Well, if you're sitting alone in a dorm room, 1,000 miles away from home, and you're miserable, and maybe you just start getting things going, and then you're like, we're all going over here.
Yep,
that's a huge change.
Yeah, it really is. But it's
well, and then it's for what purpose?
Yep.
See, because then you get into, and I understand about the football, but again, the numbers. Are you doing that so that? And there's lots. Are you doing it so you get playing time? Are you doing it because you think you're going to go to the pros? Mm-hmm. Are you doing it because, those are typically the two. They're talking.
It's a fair question to ask. If you're getting recruited and you're like, Coach, I'm coming here to play for you, and I'm a 4 or 5 star guy, but I need to know if you're going to be here in 3 or 4 years. And that coach is going to go, of course I'm going to be here. There was no reason I think Brian Kelly wasn't going to finish his career at Notre Dame, because I think he was a longer. He was there for as long as he probably wanted to be after 12 years. He made it through the tough times. He got there. He's playing for national titles. I don't know if he'll win one. It may have to be after Nick Saban or Dabo Swinney hanging up, which could be forever. But it's a really interesting dynamic. But again, these kids, it's part of the deal. It's just part of the deal. It's kind of like, okay, you guys are getting paid now. You guys are making your money. You're making your deals, and this is a business. College football is hid behind the cloak or the curtain of it being an amateur sport forever, and it's never been an amateur sport as far as I'm concerned. There's just too many people making too much money, and the players now are making theirs, and so coaches are going to continue to do what they do. I'm happy for him if that's the move he wants to make. That's great. And whose name's coming up now for Notre Dame? A guy that his name actually came up 5 or 6 years ago, Urban Meyer. Because Urban Meyer loves Notre Dame. Urban Meyer would love to go to Notre Dame.
Come on.
And so Urban Meyer's now
Urban.
at Jacksonville after 1 year. He's not having the particularly good season that he thought
Urban
he was
is sort of running his, what's the word?
Urban Meyer gets on my nerves.
Well, he's running his course, you know.
Well, he's the national championship winning
true.
coach.
Yes, that's right.
He's had the best jobs in the sport. He went to the pros. It's not going particularly well. It wouldn't surprise me at all if Urban Meyer, because I may be
Catholic.
I may be mistaken here, but I believe that Urban Meyer at one point in his life said that is
The ultimate.
the ultimate job. The ultimate job is the Notre Dame job. Now that job opened up before.
Why is that the ultimate job?
I don't know. He's always. I'm not sure, and I may be totally wrong about that, but I believe when we were doing sports radio that at one point Urban Meyer always said if the Notre Dame job opened up, I'd be.
Is Lincoln Riley from Oklahoma?
I do not know.
Okay.
I do not know. But interesting, and yeah,
It speaks a lot. I mean, listen, I don't know where I just saw that Bo Nix is considering the transfer portal.
Yeah.
Now, again, that could be speculation, but I mean, that is the other thing that I think is really interesting when you talk about redshirting. When you talk about the other thing that's thrown this completely off is the COVID year.
Yep.
You've got all these players now who got a extra year. So I don't even know how to describe it in words, right? It's messed everything up because you got these incoming freshmen. You got seniors who are 26 years old who are getting MBAs. It's the most janky, discombobulated thing. And as a college student, as a college athlete, you're sitting there trying to figure out, okay, we used to have 5th year seniors. Now we got 7th year seniors.
Yep.
And what do I do?
Yep.
And listen, I think we always see the ones on TV, right? We see the elite of the elite, and we talk about them depending on their sport, about going to the pros and whatnot. I think the harder decision is maybe you're a starter for a sport where there's not going to be a pro opportunity, or maybe you're a starter and there's not a pro opportunity for you. You're in this weird place. You can make money through NIL. You can transfer now if you want. Mm-hmm. You're on scholarship, and I think it's important that we say not every sport where they're on scholarship is full scholarship. So you get into all kinds of those issues. Then you get into issues of what are your courses? Just the basic stuff. Will your courses transfer?
Yep.
I mean, it's all these things that I think that I get. It hurts me when I hear fans say, "Well, that's the school just take care of them," because I can tell you, having worked with athletes, the school doesn't always the school doesn't just take care of you.
Yeah. The only thing about Brian Kelly I think is really, really interesting, and this is something that you're probably not going to hear a lot of. It's a really hard guy to love.
Just his style.
Just his style. There's coaches out there that aren't there to be loved. They get it done, and then because they get it done, they become loved. Okay. Nick Saban was that guy. It was business as usual. Come in. They always talked about no one ever has fun at Alabama. The only fun they have is because they win football games. It's totally not true, and now we're starting to see a little bit of a softer side of him as he gets a little older. Tom Brady, and the man in the arena just came out and said it's one of the reasons he left New England. It wasn't fun anymore. It just got to the point where it was too work. It was just too much pressure, and I wanted to have fun. And obviously he's won the Super Bowl at Tampa Bay, and he's having fun right now. He's drunk. He's throwing trophies off boats. Right. We'd have never seen that at New England, right? Brian Kelly's one of those guys where he just ain't a huggable dude. He's just not the kind of guy. And I don't know if that rubbed Notre Dame fans wrong. I think they really appreciate everything he did. They respected the fact that he's a great coach, and they took him to national championship games without winning. But he just wasn't one of those guys where you see Saban signs all over the place, but you don't ever see Brian Kelly signs.
Yeah.
People don't. He's a hard guy to love.
So listen, that is an interesting.
And even if he won a national title,
that's exactly.
I don't think he's one of those guys. You don't see people saying Brian Kelly's my guy. You see people saying Nick Saban's my guy. Now he's won 6, 7 national titles. But even guys like Ed Orgeron's a likable guy. People loved him because he was totally authentic to who he was. We really haven't seen who Brian Kelly is.
Listen, that goes exactly back to what the boobs thing we were talking about.
Yeah.
Totally brings it back.
He's fake. He's fake
one of the things that we know clearly from research is that the most successful leaders are those who people believe they know. People believe that the leader is willing to make mistakes, that the leader is willing to speak their mind and their fears and their concerns. Authenticity. That if we can't feel like we can connect at some level to the leader as a person, then there's always a distance between.
Yeah.
And as a result, what you get, and this is my term, you get compliance. Mm-hmm. People will work for very successful companies. People will work for, and here's the other parallel. People will work for a company where there's lots of money and you're doing well. But what's interesting is if you look at the CEO of the company or whoever's in charge, if that person is not a true leader, and again, a true leader is somebody that people want to follow, that people that influence, not that the people are afraid of. What you typically see, particularly in sports, you said it, I may dislike the head coach, but my defensive coordinator, that's my leader. Mm-hmm. And you know what's interesting about Brian Kelly as a fan base is you're right. His staff may have the team, but he may not.
Yep.
And we see this in companies all the time. The leader is really not that great, and what's holding it together is underneath. I can tell you this. I mean, the Nick Sabans of the world, to your point, Nick Saban was probably a guy who, had he not been winning, he would be much harder to embrace. Mm. I think his winning created a bridge period. I fell in love, with the way they looked, and then over time, I came to know the person.
Yep.
And I think that's.
Well, we hear about the dinners he has at the house for the kids.
That's
and stuff.
exactly.
The other thing is, there's a lot of coaches out there that aren't particularly successful, but their teams play for them.
Yes.
I don't.
That's what I was. Yeah.
And again, I'm not close enough to the program, but I don't see players playing for Brian Kelly. I see teams that are 4-7, and the team gets out there, and I think that's where you hear teams where you hear coaches lose their team.
Yes.
I think players at one point for a short period of time, and it's probably because of Brady and because of Burrow, the two Bs in their national championship year. I don't know if teams really ever played for Ed Orgeron.
Right.
There are some coaches where teams will play for their coach. They put it all out there, and they want to see the coach succeed because they believe in them, whether it's leadership or they're transparent.
Well, and you don't have to be
Brian Kelly isn't that kind of guy that seems like you play for him.
And you don't have to be. Listen, to be a great leader, and there's again a lot of research on this. You don't have to be charismatic.
Yeah.
You don't have to be, huggable.
Yeah.
But you have to give the true impression to the people that are playing for you or working for you that you are human.
Yeah.
As soon as and this is where leaders completely get it wrong, is when they believe that they have to be invincible. It's the stink factor. People will be compliant because they have to be. They smell that shit a mile away.
Yeah.
And that's what I think. Again, I think what's so interesting about Nick Saban is because if you don't know him and you just look at the exterior from that, you're like, oh, okay, well, not a very comfortable guy. Then you hear the stories.
Yeah.
And I think that maybe, you're right. Maybe Brian Kelly, it's gotten stale for him. And also, there's not always a lot of times there's not a fit between the person leading and who they're leading.
Yeah. I don't think we'll ever see it again. I don't think we'll ever see a guy that had the amount of success that Brian Kelly's had at Notre Dame over a period of 12 years and the chance to play for a national title potentially this year, leave a program of that stature to go to another program. I don't think, because I think if you made the argument, what's a better job right now, Notre Dame and LSU, I think it'd be about 50-50. And so that I think it's unprecedented.
Maybe like
I don't know.
warmer temperature.
Well, you better believe some people dig it right now.
Well, look at me.
They're
I
just
was
going,
the first-
okay, what's going on at Notre Dame? Is there a probation coming up? Is there some sexual harassment? Is there a Title IX? I mean, people are digging their asses off right now trying to figure out. And it may be just a situation where he's like, I put my time in here.
I'm done.
I passed Rock Newton, and I'm to the point where, I just don't feel like I can get to the top of the mountain here. And that's hard to believe because Notre Dame obviously has won national titles in the past, but it's been a long time since they've done that. He's no Lou Holtz. You can listen to our show every single morning, 7:30 to 9:30. We're on Facebook Live on the Tony Curry page every single morning as well. And you can listen to our show from 6 until 8. We do a replay every Monday through Friday. Then our specialized programs at 8 o'clock. Later on tonight, it is Adaptogens, Adapt or Perish with Dr. Alex Hublein and Dr. Josh Klapow. We have our Dark Side of the Pooch, which we aired last night, which was great. I asked the question last night. We get a lot of emails. Seriously, we get like 6 or 7 emails a week from people that have pet questions for Dr. Rab. And at the end, I always throw a couple of my own questions in. And one of my questions was, how cold is too cold for outdoor cats?
Oh, that's interesting.
And I got my pee-pee whacked a little bit. Because I said, is below freezing too cold? And he's like, hell yeah, below freezing is too. And I said, it is. Because cats seem like they can always figure out a warm place to sleep, whether it's the top of a tire or they sleep.
What did he say?
He's like, you need to bring your cat in if it gets below freezing.
Or well, cats are different. You need to give them. You need to. I don't know how to say this.
Well, we have a little thing outside where it can stay warm.
Outside, but not in the garage. No. Right. Yeah, that's.
No, it's funny because if I open the garage door right now, the cat would be in here.
Yeah, I know. Because we lost ours. We just lost.
Really?
Oh, I didn't tell you that.
Oh, no.
Yeah, he's been gone 2-3 weeks now.
He's pretty banged up.
No, he was fine. I think we have coyotes, and he 15
or
years.
raccoons. Could have been a raccoon.
15 years, and he just stopped.
You saw he died?
No, I looked all over.
Oh, well, he could come back.
3 weeks?
Yeah, cats do this. Oh, yeah. Did you put a missing cat sign up?
No. Well, I mean, no.
What are your kids going to say?
We told one of them. They were.
He may come back.
I don't think.
I need to come over and smoke with you on Saturday. He'll come back. He loves me.
I'm telling you that the thing that's so amazing about cats is, if you have a warm place in the garage, and look, I'm like a Jewish mother. I had a heating pad, and I had the whole thing. And cats, unlike cats are smart. Like,
should I put a heating pad outside for my cat tonight?
You should put him why don't you give him access to the garage?
Because the garage comes into the radio station, and someone could come into.
Oh yeah. Why don't you make a little cat door? You're a handy guy.
There you go. I'll do that.
Why don't you build that? While you're doing your manger thing,
it builds character in our cat to be cold.
No,
whenever it comes to the door, it gets fed everyone. I'd feed it everyone at 6 o'clock. It's waiting by the door.
Why don't you let him in the garage?
Its fur is really cold.
Why don't you let him in the garage? Now, here's something you can do, because our cat would do this. Our cat, if we had him closed in the garage, like he'd be sleeping. And if he was closed in the garage and sleeping, he's fine because he's sleeping. But then, as soon as he was done sleeping, they'd make that, and I'd love Dr. Rapp, that irritating, and God rest his soul if he's dead, that irritating, it's not a meow. It's like a, let me the F out of here kind of thing. And you could hear it anywhere. Open the door, gone. See, dogs would never do that. I couldn't even get my dogs. We couldn't. I had freaking Labrador retrievers.
Yeah.
They are water dogs.
Yeah.
If it was sprinkling outside, they would hold their bladder because they didn't want to get their heads wet.
Yeah, I know, right?
What the hell is that?
At least your dogs are holding their bladders because my dogs don't do it. My dogs won't go outside.
This was before the white card.
All right, talk about one of our great sponsors here.
Speaking of holding bladders, let me tell you about prostates and prostate health. 1 out of 9 men are going to develop prostate cancer. That's common. And the problem with prostate cancer is you're not going to see a lot of symptoms before the cancer develops. And so, guys, you got to do what Vituro Health tells all of us men to do. Number 1, have a blood test every year. You're supposed to get a blood test anyway to check all kinds of things. It's called a PSA. It can look at the antigen levels in your prostate to see if you are at risk for cancer or developing cancer. Number 2, have your prostate examined. And then number 3, go to Vituro Health if you get diagnosed with prostate cancer to learn about new treatments and what your options are. Their webpage is fabulous. It's Vituro VituroHealth.com. They're going to educate you about men's health in general. They're going to educate you about prostate health and what that means. And they're going to let you know what your treatment options are should you develop prostate cancer. Do not let prostate cancer take you down. Go to their webpage today. It's VituroHealth.com.